We made it. Man, we made it. It's been like this wild journey of so many years and really multiple decades trying to get to this. I don't know what it looks like out there. I don't know what this looks like from out there. But from in here, it's like we made it. It's been my dream of building something solid on this ground. And when I say this ground, for whatever reason, I have felt that this ground meant Oakland ground. And I just needed to be somewhere like this place. And we finally did it. It's not done. Nothing's ever done. But we have planted a seed, and the seed is growing. And it's difficult to grow a seed. It's difficult to stick with these things. You may have noticed that it's raining. You may have noticed that parts of your home are falling down. You may have noticed that parts of your life are falling apart. You may have noticed that it's not easy. You may have noticed that we are struggling to be here. So many of us look to somewhere else. So many of us look to another family, another community. We project onto some other group of people that maybe they've got it figured out. There's others among us that project backwards towards a romanticized past. Like if we could just go back to the land, if we could just go back to the way things used to be, if we could just do the things that we used to do the way we used to do them, then everything would be fine. But it's not going to go like that. It never goes like that. And yet the Vedic people dreamed of a golden age. To them, we are in the Kali Yuga. We are in the end time. For early Greeks and Romans, they thought of a past in which there were these folks who just had it all together. Throughout cultures all around the world, there's these ideas about the people who used to live back then, and they were great. We're the ones who have lost our way. There are people who want to go back to the land. There are people who want to be hunter-gatherers. To be a hunter-gatherer, from a Dagara perspective, is, well, it's not that it's lacking, right? It's to be a hunter-gatherer is to be in relationship with the earth. And that's what everybody wants, right? But they want to stop the sentence right there. They want to be in relationship with the earth mother. The earth mother, because that's what we lost. But for the Dagara, to be in relationship with the earth mother is beautiful. She always gives. She's abundance incarnate. The earth always gives. And if you follow her in her thread, you'll find something. And yet we need something more. And so the trickster came into relationship with the Dagara, the Candomblé, the ones who mess with you in order to get you to do the things that you need to do. And they taught them about purpose. And the way to find purpose is in community. The way to find your purpose is by hanging out with other people and finding out all the ways that they rub you the wrong way and you rub them the wrong way. All the ways in which they're amazed by the ways that you show up that you can't even see. All the ways in which we don't even know who we are until we bump into somebody else. And so that's what the trickster energy came into that community, the Dagara community, and told them. They said something very important. You need to get in relationship with the earth, Father Earth. So not just Timbaulu, not just Mother Earth, the one that always provides, but Father Earth, Tingan. Tingan is the one who forces you to stay in one place. The one that challenges you, really, to stay in one place. That if you plant a home right here, you're going to have to face all the stuff. You can't run away. You're right here. If you make a home and it starts to fall down, you have to deal with that. If you have a community, a village, and it starts to fall down, you have to deal with that. And so there's something about our relationship to Father Earth that is necessary. It's not to say that we haven't sort of overdone that bit, right? Where we've like tried to concretize everything. Because to go maybe too far towards Father Earth is to go too far towards minerality. There's nothing wrong with minerality. Minerality is the stuff in our bones, the stuff that that works the structures upon which life is built. Minerality is the parts of ourselves that know how to do it, and it works. And so we want minerality, but too much of that becomes rigid. Mother Earth is in some other kind of relationship to abundance, to nature, to the ways in which life is giving, this sort of magic. How does a child come into this world? There's a magic there, a sort of feminine bodied magic there. But it's not just the feminine, because the earth for the Dagara is the only sort of being that they know of that can create out of itself. So the earth is not masculine or feminine or whatever. The earth is a mix of all the elements. The earth is this particular place, this particular intersectional something, and out of that kind of androgyny comes creativity, and that's what we need in our lives. We need to recognize all the different parts of ourselves. We need to recognize all the ways in which we need each other. We need to recognize all the things that we need from each other. We need to know that we have each other. And so we need to plant seeds. We need to stay local. In this world, more than any other world that any human being has ever lived in, we can't just be local, because this is planetary, because we are with each other, because we are in some really basic way stuck with each other, to the extent that we have helped co-create something like climate change, something like massive globalization and concretization and mass extinction on a planetary stage. We're stuck with each other. So we got each other, and that's cool. And so a participatory spirituality requires of us to engage with all these different parts. And for the Dagara, that means playing between the minerality, the rigidity, if it goes too far, but also that part that brings us together, and the nature, the vitality, the part that brings new, novel life, creation. And if it goes too far, it becomes compost. So on one side, we're stuck with the manure, and on the other side, we're stuck with concrete. But somewhere in the middle, that's the earth. That's the place that we're supposed to reside. That's what we have to figure out for ourselves. Somewhere else in that dynamic, we are a play between fire and water. Fire and water are the original relationship for the Dagara. Water is that which receives. Water is that which goes downhill. Water is that which brings about community and communal movement downhill. Like, let's get together and go the easiest way, because that's actually how stuff gets done, really, over time. But we need something else. We need like passion, something new, and something like you. Like you, the part that's you is the fire. The part that drove you into this world is the fire. There's fire inside of you, and it wants to come through. And so the water needs the fire to find out where it should go. Too much water, and we put out our fire. Too much fire, and there is no more water. This is a world, this modern world is a world with too much fire. We have nothing but fire. It's just like massive mineral fire everywhere. We need more water. We need more community. We need more tears. We need to praise the ones who came before us. We need to praise the ones who stand with us. We need to cry for the ones who have left us. We need to laugh to the point of tears with the ones that are with us. We need to figure out how to be together as water, but we also need to remember that we are fire, that you are fire, and that you have a passion, and we need that passion, and this is my passion because this is what I was born to do, and I need to know what you were born to do, because together we can figure this whole thing out for real. Sort of. It's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. It's a process. It's a relationship. You don't figure out your marriage. You don't figure out your relationship with your mother or your father or your daughter. It doesn't just all someday, somewhere click in and then it's all good. It doesn't happen like that. How it happens is that we do it together over and over again, rubbing the edges and figuring out the ways in which we can grow and expand and maybe sometimes tone it down just a little bit. because that's how this thing goes. And so I want to underline this idea that my reason for making this website, This Spiritual Life, which is coming very soon to some sort of theater near you, my reason for trying on this vlog thing so that I can figure out my story thing is about participation in a larger story, telling new stories, learning from each other, learning how to be together. And so we made a home here. We tore down a fence here, just one fence, but that fence means a lot. That fence is a fence between different kinds of people. That fence is symbolic of something larger. It's symbolic of all the things that we need to figure out together. We need to come together, and so we tore down a fence to make it that much easier. We also built this space. This is a sacred space. We're going to come back to this space over and over again. Next week, you're going to see us in this space, making it something sacred. Right now, it's a garage. It's just a garage. But that's all anything ever is anyway, right? It's not like that thing over there is sacred and this thing over here is not. No, this thing, this world, this life, this is sacred. This is why we came. This is what we're here for. So let's do it together. This spiritual life. Earth, us, mother and father, androgynous, coming together. Fire and water, playing in all the ways that they play. Mineral and nature, doing their things, sometimes apart, sometimes together. But together, we're going to figure this out. Thank you for joining me in this spiritual life. Ashe.
Welcome to my city.